सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां. सर्वेभ्यः नमस्कारः. Good evening, everyone. Before I begin, I must pray to the goddess of speech, wisdom, and knowledge to be able to talk here. So, ब्रह्मस्वरूप परमा ज्योतिरूपा सनातनी सर्वविद्यादिदेवीया तस्यै वाण्यै नमो नमः. All right, so as all of you know, I am here to speak about Maneesha Panchakam. But if I directly start with Maneesha Panchakam, it will be like starting Shakespearean poetry without you people knowing ABCD. So I will start with the ABCD of Advaita Vedanta and then we'll get to Maneesha Panchakam. So how many of you have heard of Advaita Vedanta? Just raise your hands so that I'll just have a fair idea. Okay, very little. So I know where to start. So Advaita. So what is Advaita? In Sanskrit, na Dvaita Advaita. So what is Dvaita? Dvaita means dual. So na Dvaita, not dual. So Advaita is non-dual, means not two, the one reality. That is Advaita. And this Advaita philosophy was given by Shankaracharya in the 7th century. Adi Shankara, the greatest philosopher of any time, forever. So when I say philosophy, what is the first word that comes to any layman's mind when you hear philosophy? God, right? So what is the God according to Advaita Vedanta? Or who is the God according to Advaita Vedanta? Adi Shankaracharya wrote many works. There is one of his works known as Brahma Jnanavali, and there is a verse in his Brahma Jnanavali which best captures his idea of Advaita Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta is very vast. It's as deep as the ocean. What this verse gives us is actually a surface of that ocean, but still very important. In Hindi we say Gagar mein sagar bharna, filling an entire ocean into a pot. That's what this verse does. So this verse goes like this. Brahma satyam jaganmithya jivo brahmaiva na paraha anena vedyam satshastram iti vedantadindimaham. All right, so let's understand this. We'll break it part by part. So the first part says Brahma satyam. Satyam in Sanskrit or any Indian language means the truth. So Brahma satyam, Brahma is the truth. So I think all of you have heard of Brahma. The Brahma you know is the Chaturmukha Brahma, the four-faced Brahma in the Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. I am not talking about that Brahma. I am referring to Brahman referred in the Upanishads. So what is Brahman referred in the Upanishads? The best way to describe Brahman, or if you see in any Advaita text, the most appropriate description is Satchidanandaha. What is Satchidanandaha? The word Satchidanandaha comes from three words: Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Sat is truth, existence. Chit is consciousness or awareness. I want you to understand this Chit or consciousness very well, because if you don't understand what Brahman is, then you won't be able to understand anything else I say. So Chit is awareness or existence. If you want me to say it in other language, I know three others, so I will tell it in them because I really want you to understand this. In Kannada, if you say Chit would be Arivu. In Hindi, it would be Bodh. And English, of course, consciousness or awareness. So we have Sat, Chit, and then we have Ananda. What is Ananda? Ananda is bliss, happiness. So Brahman is Satchidananda. I want you to understand that Brahman is not someone who is experiencing bliss or who is conscious or something like that. Brahman is existence itself. Brahman is consciousness itself, is bliss itself. That is Brahman. But this is not enough, right? With just Satchidananda, are we able to understand Brahman? No. So let me go to some other attributes of Brahman. Brahman is Nitya, permanent or eternal, Niravadya, free from blemish, pure. And then Nirakara. Nirakara means formless. So if Brahman is formless and Brahman is truth, then what about all the other gods with form whom we worship? What about them? They are none other than Brahman visualized in various forms. So you might say, how? So I just began with a small shloka on Saraswati, which said, Brahma Swarupa Parama Jyoti Rupa Sanatani. Literally meaning the form of Brahman, that light, who she is eternal. So Brahman is Nirakara, Niravadya, Nitya. Then the other words is Sarva Gosmiham, all pervading, omniscient, Sarvagnya. So this Brahman is this one reality which the Advaita Vedanta talks about. So I hope all of you come to understand the first part, Brahma Satyam. I will move on to the next part. The next part is Jagat Mithya, literally translating to the world is false. World is false, as in Advaita Vedanta is saying all this you see around you, this podium, this stage, these chairs, all of this is false. Okay, how many of you disagree with Shankaracharya here? None of you. All of you are already enlightened. Or is it all of you are foolish? What is it? Okay, so Shankaracharya was not as lucky as me. When he said Jagat Mithya, other schools bombarded him with questions. They were like, how Jagat Mithya? So Adi Shankara debated with 6 to 8 schools of well-known schools, and there are around 31 schools, but okay, 8 schools of thought to prove that Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. He debated with the scholars of Nyaya philosophy, Sankhya, Yoga, Purva Mimamsa, then even the Buddhist and Jaina traditions. He debated with all of them, and he proved this, that Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. He did this in all 4 directions of the country. This was known as the Shankara Digvijayam, written by Madhavacharya, popularly known as Vidyaranya. So you might say, okay, Shankaracharya debated, but still we can't believe Jagat Mithya. We can literally see you, the podium, the chair, everything. So how is Jagat Mithya? So Advaita Vedanta gives a very, very beautiful analogy for us to understand how Jagat is Mithya. This is known as the snake rope analogy, okay? So I want all of you to imagine here, you're walking on a very dark night, and then you come across a fallen rope on the road. But because of the darkness, you mistake it to be a snake. You mistake the rope to be a snake. Now you suddenly see a snake, and now you are scared. There is fear in you. And say if you are not an Indian, some other Asian country where probably snake is eaten, you would probably feel hungry as well. The point I am trying to make here is that by mistaking the rope to be a snake, the desires or the fear that is being arisen in you, that would not have arisen at all if you had recognized that it was a rope and it was not a snake. Just like how all of you are mistaking the rope to be a snake, you are mistaking the all-pervading Brahman to be this universe. So this is known as avidya in Sanskrit. Avidya means ignorance or nescience. Avidya. And the other word is adhyasa, the superimposition. The snake is superimposed on the rope. The rope did not become the snake. You mistook the rope to be a snake. Just like that, you are mistaking Brahman to be this world. But still, you might be like, still, how can Brahman be all this? Advaita Vedanta has another illustration. Advaita Vedanta is amazing. Too many illustrations and stories. So, all of you know how pots are made, right? Can you think of a pot? I give you a pot. Can you take that pot apart from the clay it is made of? Can a pot exist apart from the clay? No? Or is the pot mud example very archaic for city people? Let me think of something else. Okay, all of you are in Karnataka. All of you know Shankaracharya. Yes? All of you must know. So this Shankaracharya, you see it in all shapes. It comes in the form of mantapa, the small bird or a horse. Is there really a horse, bird or mantapa? No. What is it? It is just sugar. Just like that, all this chair, whatever you are seeing around you is Brahman. That's how Jagat Mithya. So all of you understand Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya? No. Yes, I hope so. Next, we'll move on to the next part of Advaita Vedanta. The next part, it says, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. Jiva means self. Brahma is the one reality we are talking about. So it says, the self is not apart from Brahman. Literally saying, you and me are none other than Brahman. I think you can read it here. I saw it. It says, Aham Brahmasmi. The 4 Mahavakyas capture this very well. Prajnaham Brahma, Ayamatma Brahma. This self is nothing but Brahman. Tattvamasi, that thou art. And by that we refer to Brahman. Now you will be like, you just said Brahman is all pervading and all powerful, all knowing everywhere. How am I Brahman? So that is because you are not referring to your real self. You are referring to this composition of this body and mind. Okay, I want all of you to think of it, okay? You don't say, I am the body, I am the mind. You say, the body is mine, the mind is mine. My mind did that. So then who are you? Think about it. And Advaita Vedanta says, your true self is none other than this pure consciousness, this Satchidananda Rupa Brahman. See, once when Adi Shankara went to his guru, Govindapada asked him, who are you? And that time he composed the Nirvana Shatakam, and he says, Mano Buddhya Hankara Chittani Naham. I am not the mind, I am not the intellect. Nacha Shotra Jivhe, Nacha Grana Netre. He was referring to the sense organs of perception to show that no, I am not the body. And then he finally says, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham, Shivoham. Alright. But still, understanding this Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya, it might be still difficult to get it. I mean, it's easier to listen, but really to understand it. So there was this very beautiful story I heard in the lecture of Swami Sarva Priyananda. He almost mentions it in most of his lectures. A monk in the Himalayas told him this story, which best illustrates what the Advaita Vedanta is saying. So that is something I'm definitely going to share. So the story goes like this. So there is King Janaka, and he was sleeping, and then he's suddenly awoken by his sentry, and he said, the neighboring king has attacked us, we are at battle. Janaka gets ready, he takes his arrows, bows, takes his army, and he goes to the battle. Unfortunately, Janaka loses the battle. So the other king who has won the battle says, you are of royal blood, I won't kill you, but I banish you from this kingdom, you should be out by the sunrise the next day. Janaka is filled with the humiliation of loss. He starts walking away from his kingdom. He's been walking. It's 2 days. He hasn't got anything to eat. People are scared to feed him because of the other king's fear. Finally, he walks out of his kingdom, and he reaches this village where they're feeding the poor. He goes and stands in the line, but by the time his turn comes, there's very few crumbs left to give him. He says, whatever is left, please give me. I am really tired. So he takes whatever is left over. He's taken in a bowl and is going. An eagle comes down and knocks off that bowl. Janaka is exhausted. He collapses. Suddenly, he wakes up. If it would have been me or you, we would be like, what a nightmare. Thank God. But Janaka was a very wise king. He says, is this true or that true? His guard doesn't understand him, but the only thing Janaka is saying is this true or is that true? He calls the queen, and again, the only thing he tells the queen is this true or is that true? So the word spreads in the kingdom that the king is probably going mad. This is all he is saying. Is this true or is that true? So a great sage Ashtavakra, would have actually visited the kingdom, and sage Ashtavakra actually hears about this. So sage Ashtavakra comes to meet King Janaka. So again, when Ashtavakra asks King Janaka, how are you? Janaka asks the same question. Is this true or is that true? So Ashtavakra asks Janaka. He asks, okay, when you were there with that bowl of crumbs and the humiliation of your lost battle and the eagle, was this palace your queen or I there? Janaka says, no. Then Ashtavakra asks, right now, is that humiliation of loss, that village, that bowl of crumbs, that eagle, are they there now? Janaka says, no. Then Ashtavakra asks, okay, but were you there experiencing this humiliation of loss? Janaka says yes. And then again Ashtavakra asks, are you here right now experiencing this palace, your guards and me? Janaka says yes. So sage Ashtavakra says, neither that is true, neither this is true, you are the truth. I hope with this story you sort of get what I've been trying to convey. Yes, hopefully. Great. I think now all of you. Okay. Now I think all of you are ready to try to understand Maneesha Panchakam. So, yeah, I'm going to start with Maneesha Panchakam. Give me 2 minutes. All right. So, Maneesha Panchakam. So, Maneesha Panchakam also has a story. Again, Advaita Vedanta is filled with amazing stories and illustrations. So, Adi Shankaracharya was in Kashi. And he was walking when he comes across a Chandala. A Chandala is a person who is responsible for cremation of the dead. Traditionally, that was their occupation. So, how would a Chandala generally be dressed? Generally dirty, dressed in animal flesh. Adi Shankara sees him and he says, Gacha, Gacha. Gacha in Sanskrit means go away. So this Chandala is no ordinary Chandala. Yes, I have broken the suspense. It's no ordinary Chandala. It is Kashi Vishwanatha himself. So anyone who knows the truth of Brahman is none other than God. And so the Chandala who knew the truth is none other than the God. And the local god of Kashi is Kashi Vishwanatha. So it is none other than Kashi Vishwanatha. So when Adi Shankara says, Gacha, Gacha, the Chandala asks, Annamayat Annamayam Athava Chaitanyameva Chaitanyat Dvijavara Duri Kartum Vanchasi Kim Bruhi Gacha Gacheti. Translation: do you want a body of food to move away from another body of food? Or do you want the pure consciousness to move away from pure consciousness when there is just one pure consciousness? He doesn't stop, okay? God Vishnuvartha is having some fun. He decides to roast Adi Shankara. He further says, Kim Gangambuni Bimbitem Baramanau Chandalavati Payaha. Is the reflection of the sun in the purest holy Ganges any different from the reflection of the sun in the stagnant water of the quarters of a slum dwellers? Pure Chantaramasti Kanchana Ghate Mrutkum Bhayor Vambare. Is there any difference in the space inside a golden vessel and a mud pot? Pratyag vastuni nistaranga sahajanandava bodhambudau viproyam shwapachoyam ityapi mahan koyam vibeda brahmaha. When there is one ripple-free ocean of bliss which is pure consciousness, what is this Brahma? Brahma means illusion. What is this illusion that you have that you are a Vipra? Vipra is Brahmana and that I am a Chandala. And Shankaracharya immediately realizes his mistake, and in response to that, he writes the Maneesha Panchakam. So yes, we are finally going to start Maneesha Panchakam. So it starts, Jagrat Swapna Sushuptishu Sputatara Ya Samvidujrumbate. Jagrat, while we are awake. Swapna, while we are sleeping. Sushuptishu, Swapna is while we are dreaming, and Sushupti is when we are sleeping. That consciousness, conscious principle that is shining when we are awake, asleep, and when we are dreaming. Think of the story of Janaka. It is there either when he is dreaming, either when he is awake, and even in deep sleep. So, Jagrat Swapna Sushuptishu Sputatara Yasam Vidujrumbate. That conscious principle that is shining in all three states of waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. Ya Brahmadi Pipilikanta Tanushu Prota Jagat Sakshini. That which is all pervading. The highest being to the lowest. Pipilika literally in Sanskrit means ant. So he says Brahman is all pervading. He's pervading the highest being to something as simple as the ant. Saivaham nacha drushya vastviti. I am that. Saivaha means I am that. Nacha drushya vastviti. I am not an object of perception. See, this is very important to understand. People think God is something for you to see. God is not an object of perception. It is the subject itself. It is you. Nacha drushya vastviti drudha pragyapi yasyasti chet. Who has a firm conviction in the mind that this is the truth. Chandalostu satudvijostu gururityesha manisha mama. Chandala, he may be a Chandala, he may be a Brahmana, he is my Guru. I want all of you to understand that when we call someone Guru, that is the most revered and the highest position we can give to anybody in our life. And Adi Shankara calls him his Guru and he bows down to him. Not just bow down. In Kannada we say Dirgha Dhanda Namaskara, or in Hindi Dandavat Pranam. Okay, so okay, now I'm going to divert a little from the Advaita Vedanta, and this diversion is very necessary. There's a reason I chose Maneesha Panchakam. Currently and for the past many years, you have a whole group of intellectuals saying that our culture, our scriptures are caste discriminatory. I even had a professor who said, he said Sanatana Dharma is racist also. So this Maneesha Panchakam is a reply to everyone who are reading, their own translations, who don't know Sanskrit, giving their own interpretations, or who have not even read our texts and believing that texts are sanctioning discriminatory practices. So, yes, Adi Shankara said, there is no difference between me and you. He tells us Adi Shankara was a born Brahmana and the Chandala born Chandala. He says, we are not what we are by birth. If anyone who knows the truth, that the truth of Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, he is none other than my Guru, he is my God. Right. So coming back to Maneesha Panchakam, we'll move on to the next stanza. Brahmaivahamidam jagatcha sakalam chinmatra vistaritam. Brahmaivahamidam, this entire world is nothing but Brahman, chinmatra vistaritam, which is spread all around us. Think of it like this, okay? I'm not sure if you're able to grasp what I'm trying to say. Think of this. Think you are dreaming and you are walking in a forest and a tiger attacks you. Now think from the waking perspective. Aren't you the forest, the tiger, and the person walking in the forest itself? Just like how your dream is the projection of the mind, this universe is a projection of consciousness, a projection of Brahman, an appearance in Brahman. Alright. Brahmaivahamidam jagatcha sakalam chinmatra vistaritam sarvam chaitada vidyaya trigunaya shesham maya kalpitam. Sarvam chaitada avidyaya. Why are we seeing this world? Because of avidya, nescience. Just like how we are seeing the snake as the rope, that's why we are seeing this world. Sarvam chaitada vidyaya trigunaya shesham maya kalpitam. Maya kalpitam is seen by me. It's appearing in me, or I'm visualizing it. Kalpitam literally means imagine. And it says trigunaya shesham. So this is not, okay, those who don't know Trigunaya means three qualities known as the Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Just see around you, okay, in your universe. You will find people who are very calm, peaceful. So such attributes are referred to as the Sattva Guna, and then you'll see people who are very, very passionate, who always want to do something, who are highly egoistic. That is like a Rajas Guna. And then you even find extremely angry people, depressive people. That is tamas. So it's saying this universe composed of these three qualities is an appearance in Brahman. Sarvam chaitada vidyaya trigunaya shesham maya kalvitam itham yasya drudhamatis sukatare nitye pare nirmale. Whose mind is dwelling in this truth of this ocean of bliss. Sukatare nitye pare nirmale. Sukatare, blissful. Nitye, eternal, permanent. Sukatare, nitye, pare, beyond everything. Pare, nirmale is pure. Chandalostu satudvijostu gururityesha manisha mamam. He may be a Chandala, he may be a Brahmana, he is my Guru. Alright. So okay, Maneesha Panchakam. Panchakam means 5, so there are 5 stanzas. So I'm moving on to the third. Shashvan Nashvarameva Vishvam Akhilam Nishchitya Vacha Guru. Nishchitya Vacha Guru, from learning from the Guru, and we have come to the firm decision that what have you come to the firm decision of? Shashvan Nashvarameva. Nashvara in Sanskrit means perishable, destroyable. That this world is destroyable. Shashvan Nashvarameva Vishvam Akhilam. Adi Shankara in his Bhaja Govindam, he says, Ma kuru dhana jana yavvana garvam harati nimesha kalat sarvam. Don't take pride in this false, perishable world. Ma kuru dhana jana yavvana. In money, in social capital, or in yavvana, in your youth. Don't take pride in all this. Why? Time spares none. harati nimesha kalat sarvam. That's why. Shashvan nashvarameva vishvam akhilam nishchitya vacha guru. Nityam Brahma Nirantaram Vimrushata Nirvyaja Shantatmana. So, Nityam is always, constantly. Nityam Brahma Nirantaram is constantly. Nityam is an attribute of Brahman, the eternal, permanent. Nityam Brahma Nirantaram Vimrushata Nirvyaja Shantatmana. Shantatmana is in a peaceful mind who contemplates on this Brahman. Bhutam bhavicha dushkrutam pradahata sanvinmaye pavake. Shankaracharya puts it so poetically. He says, he burns his sins of the past and the future in the flame of knowledge. Bhutam bhavicha dushkrutam pradahata sanvinmaye pavake. Prarabdhaya samarpitam swavapuhu gururityesha maneesha mamam. So he says, prarabdhaya samarpitam. What is prarabdha? If you see in Sanatana Dharma, prarabdha refers to the result of your deeds, of your karma. Basically saying, leave your body to fate. Once you know that you are not this body, leave it to fate. Think of it like this. Okay, again the same example. You're dreaming and you're walking in the forest and a tiger attacks you. Once you wake up, does it really matter if you died in your dream or if you're attacked in your dream? No. Just like that. Leave this body to fate because this body is not the truth. Alright. Then Adi Shankara writes, Yatiryan naradevataadibhi ahamityantas putha grihyate yadbhasa hridayaksha deha vishaya bhanti svato chetanaha. That Brahman is what that is experienced as the I. And not just human beings. He says among animals, among human beings. He even says devata, among celestial beings. That which is experienced as I in them, yadbhasa hridayaksha deha vishaya, from which your mind, your body and your senses are illuminated. Now think of this like this, okay? All of you, just close your eyes, shut down all your senses. Like, don't listen to anything. Even if you do that, you are still there. Now imagine you are not there. Even if you have all this body, senses, mind, will it work? Will it function? No. That's what Adi Shankara is saying. You are able to function because of this consciousness, because you are this consciousness. Yadbhasa hridayaksha deha vishaya bhanti svato chetanaha tam bhasyaihi pihitarka mandalani bham spurtim sada bhaven. Again, one more illustration example. Adi Shankara says, okay, think of this. In the sky, all of you see clouds, right? Why are you able to see the cloud? Because the cloud is illuminated by the sun. But the same cloud covers the sun. You have seen clouds covering the sun? Just like that, how the clouds which is illuminated by the sun conceals the sun itself, this body and mind which is illuminated by this consciousness is concealed by this body and mind. So, tam bhasyai pihitarka mandalini bham spurtim sada bhavayan yogi nivruta manaso hi kuruhu gururityesha maneesha mamam. The yogi who knows this truth, he is my guru. Okay, now we come to the fifth stanza of Maneesha Panchakam. Yat saukhyam buddhi lesha leshatai me shakradayo nivrutaham. That ocean of bliss or happiness is so vast that even a very small amount of it is enough to satisfy Shakra. Shakra is referred to Indra. Indra is believed to be the god of heaven and god of war and god of many gods. So he says even a very small fraction of it is enough to satisfy Indra. Yat saukhyam buddhi lesha leshatai me shakradayo nivrutam. Yat chitte nitaram prashanta kalane labdhva munir nivrutaha. The sage who has realized this is meditating on this blissful nature. Yasmin nitya sukhambudau galitadihi sa brahmaiva na brahmavit. Okay, so Shankaracharya says something very important here. He says, Yasmin nitya sukhambudau galitadihi. Galita in Sanskrit means dissolved. Whose nature is dissolved in this one truth, Brahman. He is not Brahmavit, na Brahmavit. He is not a knower of Brahman. Sa Brahmaiva. He is Brahman himself. It is Brahman itself. So he says, Yasmin Nitya Sukham Budau Galitadhi Brahmai. Sa Brahmaiva na Brahmavit. Yakaschit sa Surendra Vandita Padam. He is the one who needs to be worshipped by the God of gods. He needs to be worshipped Surendra Vandita Padam, by the God of gods. Noonam Maneesha Mama. This is my firm conviction, intellectual decision that I say. That is what Maneesha Mama means. Iti Shri Shankara Bhagavatpadacharya Virachitam Maneesha Panchakam Sampurnam. With this, we have ended the Maneesha Panchakam.